Hello friends, welcome to lecture number 4 related to Java programming. In this lecture, we are going to discuss how to take input in Java and how to use the scanner object that is basically used for taking input in Java class. Okay, let's move toward our Eclipse IDE for implementing these concepts in detail. Product class, and I just want to take the input from the user. This is the example. Already in our product class we have basically hard-coded the value here for 3 different products. We have just give the product P1. I have assigned the values. I have hard-coded these values as in my main program. But in this case, I don't want to use these values, hard-coded values. I want to take the input from the user. So in this regard, I am going to comment these hard-coded values for 3 different objects. First thing is that I make this modification. Secondly, what you need to do is you need to create a user-defined function in your product class that will take the input from user. And what are the input that I want to take? The input ID and name. So I don't want to hard code these values from my main program. One laptop I want to take from user, whatever the choice of the user is. Okay, so I'm just making an additional function in my product class, that is public void input data. So whenever you are going to use the scanner and whenever you are going to use when you are going to take the input from the user, so it is good approach to make a input method and use that input method for every time you are going to take attribute values from the user. So you can use that input method. So for this input method, what you need to do in the Java, one additional thing is that for taking the input in Java, you need to import a library, that is import java.utility. So this is the first, as you write java.utility, first library appear here. This is the package basically, and this package is important if whenever you are going to take the input from the user. So you can see that when I'm going to take the input, I am creating the objects. I am using the already built-in object from this package. So Java in Java programming, basically it uses object that is used for taking the input from the user, and this object is basically store, and this object is stored in this utility library or utility package here. Okay, so in this input data program, I am going to take the input from the user. So first you need to create an object. You cannot take the inputs simply. You need to create first object, and then with the help of object you can take the input from the user. So scanner, you can scanner, SC scanner is basically already built-in class that is stored in your utility package. So you need to use that scanner object, and here you can, in parameter, you can use system.input. So I'm going to tell you about this object, what this line represent here. Basically scanner is a class that is basically used in Java to take the input from the user with the help of the keyboard. Okay, so scanner basically provide interaction between the user program and your keyboard, or for taking the user defined input from the user. Okay, so this is the scanner object, and scanner we give this object to a whatever user defined name. You can give it SCS or whatever name you like. You can give it the name input data. So here I'm using this object. This object SC basically help us to read data from the user. With the help of this object we can use sc dot input name input string. So and new basically create this object dynamically on the heap. And in parameter you can use see that system.in. Basically system.in is the, as you write sys tm system.input, you can see right java language.system. Basically it is a class that basically provide interaction between the user and the keyboard. Basically it help user to take the input from the keyboard. Okay, so this is the scanner object. Every time when you are going to take the input, you need to declare this scanner object in your input data function, or you can declare this object simply in your main function as well. So this is the library that you need to import java.utility. Once it is imported, then you can use and you can create this built-in object, and you can use this scanner class in order to take the input from the user with the help of the keyboard. Okay, so now I'm basically reading the data from the user, and what were our attributes. We have our ID and we have our name here. I want to take the input these two variable. So what I need to do is I need to take the input from the user here. So first I'm going to display a message syso, then press Ctrl space simultaneously from the keyboard. Basically this command display or print the values whatever you are going to print. Here I'm printing a message enter user or product ID here and just I'm taking the input from the user, so I can write it sc. With the help of this object you can read data. So and our instance variables are ID and name, and I want to input values for these attributes. So with the help of this object scanner sc dot, and as you press the dot button you can see that sc dot next. As you press next, there are different data types that you can take the input from user. For example, you can input integer type values, you can input string type values, you can input sometime double type values, you can input sometime float type values. So these all primitive data types can be input with the help of this scanner object. So there are some built-in function that Java already define here. Okay, so as you are going to press and using the dot operator here sc dot, and just you press n, so it will provide you a list of different built-in function here. Now I want to take two input from the user. First is the product ID and second is the product name. So for taking the input integer, you can use next int built-in function. Okay, so you can use this function sc dot next integer. Similarly for taking the input, first I am displaying a message in order to make the difference between the product ID and name. Just press Ctrl space, and I just want to take the enter product name here. Okay, so this is the product name here, and I want to take input for this value, so I can use sc. I'm using the same scanner object reference here sc dot and next. So next string basically take the string that is the product name is of type string, so it will take the string type. If you want some double type, you can use double, you can use float. These are just built-in function for taking input for multiple data types, so you can explore these. I'm just taking next. It will basically take value for just name of my just the name of my product. Okay, so this is these are the two attribute, and I have taken and some values from the user that user can enter according to their choice for taking different input from the keyboard. So after this, I am just one more thing that you need to do is that you are using these built-in function, but you want to store this in some variable here. So in this case, I am using integer I for storing the ID. This whatever user take from this built-in function, it will store in integer I. Similarly, for name, whatever user take input from scanner with the help of built-in function, it will store in this string variable. I am giving the name string n. Okay, so our ID is stored in integer I, and our string is stored in string n. And one more thing that you need to do it here, I am just using this attribute here. So you need to assign these attribute to this instance variable. Okay, reason is that we have just stored these variable in our temporary variable, but in conceptual way, these variable are basically the instance variable here. So I want to copy these values what user take from local variable to my class instance variable ID and name. So I'm using this keyword. Already I tell you the reason to use this variable is this point to current reference variable, and this dot ID is it point over current reference variable. Basically it contain the value that user take as an integer. Similarly, this dot name, basically this point to current instance variable, and it contain the value and it store the value and that it take from the user. Okay, so this is the thing how you are going to use the input data. Input data is a little bit complex here in Java, but as you are going to use it, you are familiar to that, and as much as practice you are going to do, you can hands-on these commands as well. Okay, so one more thing is that I want to this is the input data function here. I write this method and I use this utility library. Now I am moving toward my main program here. So what is the main function where our object is created? Because we want to take input 3 different values. It means I want to take 3 different IDs and I want to take 3 different names, because I have created this array of object here, and I have 2 variable here that I want to take the input ID and name, that were our instance variable, or that was our attribute or fields. So what I need to do is I just want to use the input method, input data method. So I can use a loop here, because why I'm going to use a loop here, because there are 3 different values that I need to take as an input, not one. If there is a single value, then I can simply take the just one value, not using the loop here. And product, our reference variable is p, and here in p you can use it p dot whatever the length of this array object, p dot length sorry, I is equals to 0, I is less than 2, p dot length, and then you can make the increment here. So in this way you can take the input from the user here, and this is the input method that we have defined in our class. So I want to access this method with the help of my object name, and our object is object reference variable is p. So you can use the p dot, and as you press dot operator, you can access the input method that you have defined in your class. In this case p product p dot input product sorry, that is the product p, and in this case we are using the square bracket because we have multiple product here. Okay, so I want to take input pi dot. Now you can use this input method here, pi dot input data. It will take input value from the user at index 0, then it will increment 1, then it will take the input at p1, then it will take the input at p2. So these three different values are taking the input, and we are storing these to our attribute values. So this is the way how you take the input. And one more thing is that for displaying these value, we already use another loop for int I equals to 0 till the length of our reference variable, and we have displayed this object here. One more thing that you need to do here is that you need to give the you need to initialize these three product. As already I tell you that it will not just input data. We want to input data just for whenever an object is created for every reference variable. So we need to give and we need to initialize this here, and we need to tell this to the compiler that we have the array of object here, so we want to take three different objects. So what you need to do is here you can initialize pi equals to new, and you can call the default constructor, and this default constructor basically create three different objects, pi, p1, p2, and as these three different objects are going to be created with the help of new keyword, now you can use built-in function pi dot input data in order to take input as three different location. Okay, in this way as these reference variable are going to be created, p0, p1, p2, and then we want to take these values as an input. We need to hard code these values at object 1, that we are going to assign it at object 1. We have hard coded id1, and we have hard coded the laptop, and object 2 we have hard coded id2, and we have hard coded the mobile, and then an object 3 we have hard coded 2, and we have hard coded the value that is tablet. So in this case now we want to tell the compiler that we want to take the input at these three reference variable, and from here whatever the input is going to be taken, their addresses are stored in these reference variables. So what I'm going to do here, I am going to just add this line. These three products are going to be created with the help of default constructor that we already defined. It is the default constructor as it don't take any parameter, and we have our input method that is using the scanner, or then we have our parameterized constructor, because parameterized constructor basically assign values to our parameters. So with the help of this function you can now take the input. One more thing that I am going to change is that when you are taking different input variables, so it is good practice in order to make a next line, you can use the command as user input id, then you need to make a next line, then you can input the product name, and then you can input another value. So in this I'm using just using this sc dot next line. So whatever user is taking, it will take the input in next line. Okay, it will not intermix product id, product name, and other attribute in just one line. So I'm just making this change, and while the remaining code is as it is, I have just created my object and I have using the loop. So I'm going to execute it. So you can use that. First, what is the main program is showing, it will create first default constructor to create the object, because first it will create object p0 and then it is taking the input from the user. I am giving the value now here. I am not hard coding value here. So enter product ID, I am giving the name 1. Product name is, I am giving the product name is laptop. That is the string. Again, product 1 is going to be created, so it will again take the product ID and product name from the user. As I press enter, first default constructor is called, then it will take the product ID 2. So I am entering the product ID 2 and then it will ask for the product name. Product name is mobile. Then you can press the enter and then it will call the just default constructor for creating the object, for creating this product, and then it will call for product ID. Now I'm giving the input product 3 and I am giving the product name, that is our tablet here. So this is the output. As I press enter, you can see that it take 3 different values and it take input from the scanner and then it display these values with the help of display function. Product ID 1 is laptop, product ID 2 is mobile, and product ID 3 is basically tablet. So these are 3 different product that values we have taken and with from the user with the help of the scanner command, and this is the scanner function here. So this is all about today's lecture. It is requested to kindly like and subscribe our channel in order to gain and in order to achieve more conceptual videos. Thank you very much.